What up, y'all? This is Bizarre here to continue his series of the top 10 Wrestlemanias of all time. That's right, folks. We are now 2 days away from the biggest event in sports entertainment history. We're down to the last two WrestleManias. I'll be giving you my number 2 today, my number 1 on WrestleMania morning. On this account, and that will be my last video on this account, and my other account is where all my videos from now on will be. But number 2 on the top WrestleManias of all time. Now this event has the same rating as number 1. I just think number 1 is better than number 2, but a lot of people think that my number 2 is better than my number 1. So if you believe number 2 is better than number 1, well, that's okay with me since they were both equally amazing. I just like number 1 more than number 2. And yes, that joke is getting very old. But let's get right into it. Number 2 in the top 10 WrestleManias of all time, WrestleMania 17. That's right, folks. Live from Houston, Texas, WrestleMania 17, what most people consider to be the greatest WrestleMania, one of the greatest pay-per-views, if not the greatest pay-per-view in the history of the Federation. Let's get right into it. Night kicked off with Chris Jericho versus William Regal. This is a good technical match, some nice counter wrestling, some very nice stuff out of these two. Only problem was it was a little too short. It was like 6-7 minutes long. Could have gone for about 10-15 with these two guys. Had a very nice pace. I just hate how it ended really abruptly. It should have had, like I said, a little bit more time. I'll go 2.5 stars since it was a very nice opener. Second match on the card was a 6-man tag. It was the APA and Tazz versus the Right to Censor. Decent match. Not really much to say. The crowd is really into Bradshaw, but other than that, no point in having this match. It was just thrown together to get all 6 of these guys on the card, obviously. In the end, Bradshaw hits the clothesline from hell on the Goodfather and gets the 1-2-3. Star and a half for this match. Third match on the card was the Hardcore title triple threat match. It was Kane versus Big Show versus Raven. This is the match that often gets the most mixed reviews off of this card. A lot of people either you like it or you hate it. Me, I was never a big fan of the Hardcore title. You know, it's basically all the same. You have these brawls all over the arena. This was nothing we hadn't seen previously. You know, if you're a fan of seeing like all those spots, you know, like Raven getting thrown through the fake plexiglass, or Kane and Big Show going through a obviously paper wall, it was a very entertaining match. It was a very entertaining popcorn match. But all in all, there was nothing really to see other than probably Kane's leg drop off the stage. I'll give it 2 stars even. Next match on the card was, I believe, Eddie Guerrero versus Test. I believe that this match is very underrated and overlooked. Like on a card like this, it's pretty easy to believe that. But this was a entertaining match. This had some nice counter wrestling, some great shit altogether. This is probably Test's best one-on-one non-hardcore variation match. This was entertaining. This was very well done. And I must say, Perry Saturn's hat in this match was hilarious. So I'll give the match 3 stars even. In the end, Eddie wins after hitting Test with the title and then pinning him. So yeah, 3-star match, and I do think it's a very overlooked match on this card. Up next was, I believe, Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. This was an excellent wrestling match. Altogether, great shit. What you'd expect out of these two guys. It wasn't as good as some of the matches they were going to have, i.e. their cage match on Raw, or their match at Unforgiven 2002, or especially their match at Royal Rumble 2003. But this was still a technical classic. It was amazing. Wouldn't expect anything less out of these two guys. I'll give the match, I'll give it 4 stars even. So the only thing I didn't like, and the only reason it didn't get a little higher at least, was because of the ending with the roll-up. I didn't like that very much. But all in all, some great wrestling, some amazing counter wrestling, some great submission wrestling, everything you expect from these 3 guys. Up next was Chyna versus Ivory. This was a 2-minute match, a squash match basically. Chyna just dominated the shit out of Ivory, get revenge for what happened to her at the Royal Rumble with the neck problem. This was just thrown here for a women's match on the card. No point of it being here. The crowd was really into Chyna winning the belt again. That was pretty cool. But overall, nothing really to see. I'll give it a dud since, like I said, it lasted 2 minutes and basically it was just Chyna beating the shit out of Ivory. So really nothing to see. Up next was Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon in a street fight, and the special referee none other than Bang Bang Mick Foley. This was a very good popcorn match. This was like watching a Michael Bay film, if you follow me. It was clusterfuckish, it was action-filled, but it wasn't a masterpiece. It wasn't a technical masterpiece by any means necessary, but it was a car wreck. So many memorable things, like, Shane doing the Van Shaminator, the elbow drop missing through the announcer's table, Vince going crazy with the trash can stuff, Linda McMahon standing up out of nowhere and low blowing Vince there, Vince trying to take out Mick Foley, and Mick Foley trying to do the same to Vince. It was all very, very entertaining. This was a very entertaining match. I'll give it 3.5 stars. And this was a great popcorn match. Yeah, it was like you sit back, you got your popcorn, you got your soda, and you watch this match. That's what I mean by a Michael Bay film type match, if you follow me. Next on the card was TLC 2. It was the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys versus Edge and Christian. Amazing match. I still believe to this day that this is the best TLC match that there's been. Their match at SummerSlam was amazing. I give that match 4.5 stars. And their match at WrestleMania 2000 was amazing. I again gave that 4.5 stars. So they had two other amazing TLC / ladder matches, but this one just topped them all. So much crazy shit. Edge spearing Jeff Hardy off the top of the ladder. Matt Hardy and Bubba Ray Dudley falling through like 4 or 5 tables. Jeff Hardy walking off the tops of ladders and trying to catch another ladder. Like, even though it didn't work out too well, like him actually going for that and almost making it just makes it amazing. And all in all, this match was very memorable. The crowd was extremely into it. And even the interference from Lita, Rhino, and Spike Dudley, it all worked in this match. It didn't disgrace anything or bash anything. It added to this match, and this was just excellent. This was amazing. And I'll give this 4 3/4 stars. And it's not in my top 10 WWE matches of all time, but it's definitely top 15. So, amazing, amazing match. And this is match of the night, I believe. Up next was the Gimmick Battle Royale. 3 minutes, wasted time, nothing really to see. The ending with Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter was pretty cool to see, but if you're an old school fan, but this match was just horrible. I'll give it a dud, but like I said, if you're a fan of old school type wrestling, you might like this match, but it should not have been on here. This was just obviously used to calm the crowd down between TLC 2 and Undertaker, Triple H, and the main event. So, next match on the card, speak of the devil, was The Undertaker versus Triple H. And I believe this, if not the first time, this is one of the first times that these two guys ever went one-on-one. This was a great match. It was very entertaining. My only problem with this match, and why I think people overrated a little too much, is because I did not like the fact that they had to go into the crowd and use weapons and all that other shit, especially since we'd already seen so many hardcore variation matches on the card, and we still had one more to come, so it didn't really need to do that. But all in all, this had an excellent pace to it. The referee bumps did sort of work in a way. I thought they were actually pretty funny at points. And I thought it was pretty funny how they just set up a new announcer's table and Triple H goes right through it. But all in all, this match had, like I said, excellent pace, and it was the first time The Undertaker ever did the last ride out of the corner. So I'll give it 3.5 stars, maybe 3 3/4 if I'm feeling a little more generous. But, I felt that it could have been a little better than what it was, but it was still a great match altogether. So, and then up next we have our main event, the second best main event in the history of WrestleMania, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match was awesome. This was another one of those Michael Bay type matches, not a technical masterpiece, but it never slowed down, and you never got bored. It was just amazing, from start to finish. The pace was there, and so many memorable things, like Rock kicked out of 3 or 4 stunners, and then Austin beats the shit out of him with the chair, and he still won't pin him, and then JR saying, "What in God's name must I do?" That was just amazing. Everything fit together in this match, and the ending, Vince and